Does DeSci need to focus on the greater good of humanity at the expense of um, being able to uh, monetize or financialize its uh, followers or members of DAOs, etc.? Do you think that is a necessary process? Anyone?
Yeah, I think it's the core Web three really. We were talking earlier about like the financialization and how that's like one of the the main three, right? But the idea of like even like when it comes to like gaming or science or any of this sort of anything you really apply in Web three, I think it's that ability to remove that extractive middleman and give power directly to the people who are participating in whatever it is.
Humpty, what about you? You agree?
I am not someone building out DeSci, so I will not be as informed as Flow Science or maybe Peyote. Um, but I do think that there is an importance in trying to find a balance between the two.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to Web3, one of the core concepts, I believe it's around the ownership of, your data, right? So I think Flow Science was alluding to that moments ago in terms of, uh, I guess, enabling that ownership to these participants in the ecosystem. But I think one thing we've seen kind of more and more in the Web3 ecosystem is that if you don't necessarily build kind of a sustainable model for the project to exist in the long term, then it just won't. Right. So we need to find ways to be able to develop these systems that are self sovereign, but also find ways to create a business model around it to be able to generate revenue and sustain it. Right. I think a few projects have tried to do that through tokenization of it, right, and exiting to community, but there is a portion of that which is locked in a treasury, which then allows for these projects to remunerate themselves, or the people that are working and to develop this project. But then the bear market happens, and these
Mm-hmm.
tokens in that treasury become worthless. So it's tricky, right? I think that also, being mindful of good treasury practices, right? As long as it's public,
Mm-hmm.
is something that projects are either learned early or have learned the hard way after the bear market hit in terms of being able to diversify that so that they can remain active and viable outside of a bear market. What's that, Peyote?
Oh, solvent. Yeah, I was just saying it remains
Solvent,
solvent.
sure,
Yeah.
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 Peyote, talk about some of the projects going on in the science style and in terms of their value to the community and the general response or your surprise at maybe how bearish people are in terms of helping to execute on these things.
Oh, well, okay. In the science style right now, I think that we have a few main projects that we're working on. We have a team that is trying to develop a machine learning project that's involved with centralized exchanges and trading bots using machine learning to get smarter at finding arbitrage opportunities in an attempt to predict the market. So a little bit of a AI ML type of scientific approach to crypto trading. Um, so that one's kind of cool. We'll see how it goes. We're interested in it. There's another project. One of our advisors on our panel, Dr. Jaume, has multiple patents to utilize CAR T cell treatment to cure type 1 diabetes. So we have like a kind of a biotech, sort of arm as well. Several of the people on the panel have pretty storied careers in venture capital, specifically in the biotech arena. So that's very exciting as well. One difficulty with that project that we're seeing is people in Web3 and in crypto are used to super fast paced type of results, and traditional finance and biotech, getting licenses, closing deals takes a little bit longer. And so we've been trying to educate people on like kind of the expected timelines of some of these raises and sort of what to expect. We have another project, obviously ETH, ETH is coming up here on the merge in a couple days. So we're trying to build out. So one thing people don't realize is the Science DAO actually is operating with an SEC exemption. And so the DAO is actually able to offer investment products to accredited investors and wherever, whatever countries that, that allows their citizens to invest in investment products. So that we tried to start with like a regulation, conscious approach. And for that reason, one of the next projects I think that we're going to be working on is a validator staking porthole, essentially for institutions to be able to stake, their 32 ETH or whatever it might be, and utilize our beacon nodes that we would be providing, and see some type of return. You see a lot of projects out there that say, they use buzzwords and jargon like passive income and returns back to investors and this and that, when really they're not actually able to. So I think that's one benefit of the Science DAO, is just being able to offer actual investment products. But that's kind of like what the three things that we have going on right now. We're a little bit, I wouldn't say we're delayed on our deliverables, but we're building out an investment platform similar to seedinvest.com, where people can find investment opportunities, especially like early stage, and then be able to utilize their cryptocurrency assets as opposed to just fiat to invest in these specific startups. Now, what we see, or what our theory is, right, is that instead of holding ETH or a volatile asset that might be moving with the ebb and flow of the market, if the investor so chooses, they can attach some of their cryptocurrency value to an early stage scientific startup and then have that value follow the trajectory of that scientific startup. All right, is kind of the idea.